Hi, it's Neil McGovern here. This is just a very short video about fingering and how you use your fingers or finger position. So you can see here both my hands, and I have my left hand and my right hand quite flat. It's like maybe how you might have the fingers as on a recorder where you've got to cover those holes, maybe clarinet. But you see how this sounds. So it sounds fine really, but it looks a little bit cumbersome and not really under control. So when you're playing, try and just curl your fingers in. If you've got quite long hands like me particularly, and you're playing alto, I find my hands fit the tenor quite nicely, but you want to try and get your fingers on those pearl keys so that they're curled in more like this, rather than just flat and reaching. Sometimes even people are reaching right over the edge of the white pearl keys. Try and just stay right on them, and really minimal movements. There may be musical times where you want to do something a little bit more rhythmic, maybe if you're doing some cool little jazz improvisation thing, it may kind of suit, especially if you're doing like a funk kind of style. That kind of thing, you know, that might kind of suit that, but usually what we're looking for is economy of movement, so we're really not moving the keys any more than they have to. It's interesting to know that some of the fingerings that you use, you'll find you actually don't need to even lift the key the whole way to make it work. So you can really, especially if you're playing something very slow, you know, sometimes I've seen people playing very slow, quiet music, but they're doing all that clunky stuff because the saxophone is quite a clunky member of the woodwind family. So we want to try and minimize that extraneous noise, unless there's a musical reason to have it there, or if it's unavoidable. You know, sometimes you're playing so fast that, you know, and maybe it's quite loud as well, so it's of no concern just how much noise the saxophone itself, the instrument, is making outside of its actual tone from the air. So just try and keep your fingers in a little bit more, especially if you're playing slowly. So you're not really kind of doing lots of extra slappy movement, so just very gently, and it's almost like your fingers engage with the music. You know, you see probably the way a conductor moves their hands, or a good concert pianist will sort of do this sort of hand phrasing. So there's no reason we just have to be completely dry and technical on the saxophone. We can kind of add music in with the way our fingers move. I'm not talking about fingering and using the correct fingerings for notes. I'm kind of thinking of that as a given at the moment. What I'm thinking about is trying to use your fingers in a musical way, in a way that reflects the music, and keeping them curled in, keeping them on the pearl keys as much as possible. Hopefully that's a useful piece of advice.